Brad Pitt does not like to have arguments. He just disappears from your life. When he thinks you are not important to him anymore, he does not tell you. You just do not hear from him again. Brad Pitt has been in the movie business for a long time, more than 30 years. He has met famous people, gone out with very important women, and won Academy Awards. Over time, he has learned how to stop being friends with someone without making a deal about it. This is a skill that not many people have. Brad Pitt does not say mean things about people he used to know. He does not make scenes. Say things that everyone will talk about. He just creates distance between you and him. This distance is very quiet. It is permanent. Often you do not even notice it is happening until it is too late. Brad Pitt is very good at this. From Fight Club to Legends of the Fall to Inglourious Bastard and Upon a Time in Hollywood, Brad Pitt's movie career is full of really famous roles. If you look at the people he worked with on those movies, you will see that he did not work with many of them again. Some of these people were actors in the movies, as Brad Pitt. Some were people he was in a relationship with, and some were so close to him that they felt like family members. When Brad Pitt stops trusting someone, or when they have disagreements, Brad Pitt always does the same thing. He does nothing. There is no argument, no public announcement, just Brad Pitt being absent. Brad Pitt chooses to be silent on purpose. He was with the names in the movie business, and then he was not with them anymore. Here are 6 actors, Brad Pitt, who stopped working with these people, and what happened to them, that their stories just stopped without a part. Number 1. Tom Cruise. Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise were big stars back then, but when they worked together on Interview with the Vampire, they just did not get along. They played characters who were like enemies forever, and the tension between them was very real. The movie was a time for Brad Pitt. He even said it was one of the worst times in his career. He said it was a cold experience that made him feel empty and unhappy. Tom Cruise is a serious guy who likes to be in control, so he kept to himself. Brad Pitt was still trying to figure out who he was as an actor, and he did not like the way Tom Cruise did things. There was no teamwork between them, no friendship, just 2 famous actors working together because the movie required it. When they finished filming, that was the end of it. They did not stay in touch, they did not say things about each other in public, and they did not work together again. The careers of Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise also went in directions. Brad Pitt started playing characters that were not perfect, a little strange, while Tom Cruise kept playing characters that were precise and perfect. A time later, Brad Pitt talked about it in a simple way. Tom Cruise does his own thing, and I do my own thing. He was not trying to be mean, he was just setting a limit. Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise were 2 actors who did their own thing. This is a business where people often get back together. This one meeting never took place. The idea of this reunion was always there. It never actually happened. People in this industry are used to getting together with old friends and colleagues, but this one reunion never occurred. The industry is about reunions, and this one was supposed to be a big deal, but it never happened. Number 2. Angelina Jolie. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were not a couple, they were a really big deal. People around the world knew who Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie did a lot of things together, like make the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith, walk on carpets, do humanitarian work, and raise their 6 kids. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie built a life together that was really something. Then it all fell apart. The end of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's relationship was slow and very painful. It ended up being a nasty and long legal fight, one of the worst Hollywood has ever seen. Jolie wanted a divorce because she was worried about the family. After that, a lot of things happened that were not good. There were papers from the court, and they said some bad things about each other in public. They were really mad at each other for a time. One thing that made them fight a lot was the Chateau Miraval winery in France that they owned together. Pitt said Jolie sold her part of the winery to some people who were friends with oligarchs, but she did not tell him. The people who work with Jolie said Pitt tried to shut her up when they were getting divorced. Then something happened on a jet, and people said Pitt yelled at Jolie and hurt her. Pitt said that is not true. The divorce was very messy and sad for the family. Jolie and Pitt were very unhappy with each other. The Chateau Miraval winery was one of the many things they fought about. The Federal Bureau of Investigation looked into this, closed the case without bringing any charges against anyone. However, the harm that was done was something that could not be fixed. The Federal Bureau of Investigation made their decision. The damage to the people involved was permanent. The relationship did not just break, it completely fell apart. Now Jolie talks about survival of being in a relationship. In an interview in 2021, Jolie said it was very hard for her to decide to leave Pitt and that she finally felt like she was doing the thing after being lost for a long time. Since Jolie and Pitt split up, they have never been in the room together in public. They do not see each other at events, not even when it is about their kids. Jolie and Pitt do take care of their children together. They do it from a distance. Number 3. Edward Norton. In the movie Fight Club, Brad Pitt and Edward Norton made one of the famous teams in movies today. When they were acting together on screen, it was really exciting to watch. When they were not acting, things were not so simple. Edward Norton is a serious person who likes to have a lot of control over his work. Brad Pitt is more of a person who just goes with his feelings and does what feels right. This difference between them made their scenes in Fight Club really good. It also caused problems when they were not filming. People who were on the set said that Norton would often change the words in his lines, question the way the scenes were being directed, and alter the scenes without telling anyone. Pitt never said anything about Norton out loud, but the people who were working on the movie could feel the tension between them. One person who was part of the crew said that the mood on the set was like a competition. Nobody was being too aggressive. Years later, when Norton started to get a reputation for being hard to work with and got removed from some movie franchises, people thought back to Fight Club and figured out what was going on with Norton. When people asked Brad Pitt years later about working with Norton, Brad Pitt just said, "We had our moment with Fight Club. I think Fight Club says everything it needed to." He sounded nice. He meant it was really over. Even though a lot of people really love Fight Club, Brad Pitt and Norton never made another movie together. They never did a sequel. Got together again, not even to talk about Fight Club on its anniversary. Norton does not usually talk about Fight Club unless someone asks him to. There is no problem between them, but they do not seem to be friends either. For Brad Pitt, making Fight Club was a special thing that can never happen again. Lightning is really strange. It never strikes the place twice, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. Lightning just does not do that. It never strikes twice. Number 4. Harrison Ford. Brad Pitt and Harrison Ford were the names in the Devils own a movie that came out in 1997. This movie was supposed to be really exciting. People thought it would be a big hit. It had 2 famous actors and a story that was full of action. Things were not going well behind the scenes. The people making the movie were not getting along. It was causing a lot of problems. The main issue was with the script for the movie. Harrison Ford had already agreed to be in the movie when Brad Pitt joined. Then Brad Pitt found out that the script was not even finished yet. He later said that the people who made the movie went into production without a script. They had a good idea for the movie, but that was about it. The movie production did not have a real foundation. The movie production team did not have a plan, which is really important when you are making a movie. The movie production team just had a strong idea for the movie. Ford was a veteran with a lot of experience in the industry. He wanted to have more control over his character. He liked the idea of a hero story. On the hand, Pitt wanted his role as an Irish revolutionary to be darker and more about politics. Their ideas did not match. So the script was rewritten times, and this made the film go in different directions. One version of the film was like what Ford wanted, and another version was more like what Pitt wanted. The final film felt like it was not quite right. Ford and Pitt did not seem to connect with each other when they talked to the press. Ford and Pitt rarely talked to each other during press tours for the film. There was no fight, just a quiet and professional disagreement between people that never got settled. The friction was always there. It was quiet and professional. It never went away. The people involved just could not resolve the issue of the friction. After the movie came out, Ford talked about it in a way, saying the project was tough. Pitt was very straightforward about it. He said it was the irresponsible movie making he had ever seen. People remembered what he said. Ford and Pitt never made a movie together again. Even though they both kept starring in movies, in different types of films, they never worked together on screen again. In Hollywood, you do not always need to have an argument to stop working with someone. Sometimes one bad experience on a movie set is enough. Pitt and Ford worked on one movie together. Then they just stopped making any more. They did not make a deal about it, they just quietly closed the door behind the movie Pitt and Ford made. Number 5. Gwyneth Paltrow. Before all the fuss about Brangelina, there was Gwyneth Paltrow. A time ago, in the mid-1990s, Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow were the perfect couple in Hollywood. They were so glamorous and nice that everyone liked them. It seemed like they would be together forever, like a story. They met while making the movie Say 7 Un and got engaged after that. Brad Pitt was much in love with Gwyneth Paltrow, and he even told people in interviews that Gwyneth Paltrow was the love of his life. For a while it seemed like Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow would stay together forever. It just stopped, quietly, and all of a sudden. There was no fuss, no one said anything about it in public. In 1997, Gwyneth Paltrow and Brad Pitt stopped being engaged, and on Gwyneth Paltrow said she was the one who ended it. Gwyneth Paltrow said she was not ready for it, that she was too young at the time, and that Brad Pitt was too good for her. Brad Pitt never really talked about what happened. After that, everything was really quiet. Gwyneth Paltrow and Brad Pitt did not stay friends, they did not say things about each other in public, and they did not work together again. Number 6. Jennifer Aniston. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were the people that everyone in America loved. They were really nice and charming when they were together. It seemed like they were perfect for each other. They got married in the year 2000. They were always on the red carpet and on the cover of magazines. It looked like everything was easy for them. Even though they were smiling all the time, things were actually falling apart behind the scenes. Then 5 years went by. Brad Pitt left Jennifer Aniston. The whole world watched as they broke up. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were no longer together. It was a big deal. When the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith came out, people started talking about it. Angelina Jolie was suddenly over the newspapers and magazines. This was around the time that Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston got divorced, not long after they finished filming Mr. and Mrs. Smith. This was a tough time for Jennifer Aniston. She never said anything about Brad Pitt in public, but it was clear that they were not close anymore. He had hurt her deeply. After they got divorced, they did not become friends again. The distance between Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston was obvious. Mr. and Mrs. Smith was always going to be a reminder of what happened between them and how Angelina Jolie became a part of their lives. The careers of Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt went in different directions. Brad Pitt started doing movies that were considered good, and he also started producing. Jennifer Aniston focused on doing her thing, and later she did really well on television. The media kept trying to make people think that Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt would get back together, especially when Brad Pitt went to Jennifer Aniston's birthday party in 2019. People who know Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt said they hardly talked to each other. They did not take any pictures together, they were not warm to each other, they were just being polite. When Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt did a Zoom table read in 2020, which made their fans really happy, it felt like they were not really comfortable with each other. Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt smiled at each other. That was it, nothing more. They have never worked together again. Despite fan hopes and constant speculation, the silence between them has never lifted. Jennifer didn't seek revenge, and Brad never publicly apologized. The story ended quietly, and it stayed that way. That is how Pitt operates. He doesn't fight loudly. He walks away. One roll, one fracture, one shift in trust, and the connection ends. No statements, no second chances, just distance. Once the door closes, it stays closed.